The Enhanced American Express Business Gold Card is designed to take your business further. It's packed with benefits like 4 times points that adapt to your top 2 eligible spending categories every month on up to $150,000 in purchases per year. And up to $395 in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select business merchants. The Amex Business Gold Card, now smarter and more flexible. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/businessgoldcard.
This is Shonda
and Chanel,
and you're live from
the Double Dose Podcast.
Listen, Chanel,
listen,
it's been lit.
It's been awesome.
Like, so many people have been enjoying the podcast.
They have, but we need to hear from you, the listeners.
So if you guys are listening, we need you right now.
Stop what you're doing
and go into Apple Podcasts,
Leave
Spotify.
a 5-star review. Sorry.
Go into Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, Spotify, and wherever else you listen to podcasts.
And leave a 5-star review for your girls.
And a comment if you feeling extra generous.
Come on.
Because I feel as though, you guys have been loving the pod.
Yes.
You guys have been commenting on social, but we also
Posting
need those.
on social.
Yes. And we also need those podcast ratings.
Yes.
What do the podcast ratings do for us, Chanel?
Well, it'll increase our visibility. It'll help us with sponsorships and partnerships. And listen, it will help us get the message out there for the Double Dose Pod.
Exactly. So if you're not a hater, go ahead and leave a 5-star review.
If you hating a little bit, then the Lord can deliver you. It's not too late.
Period. All right, you ready to hop in? Yep.
The Enhanced American Express Business Gold Card is designed to take your business further. It's packed with benefits like 4 times points that adapt to your top 2 eligible spending categories every month on up to $150,000 in purchases per year. And up to $395 in annual statement credits on eligible purchases at select business merchants. The Amex Business Gold Card, now smarter and more flexible. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/businessgoldcard.
Hey, what's up, everybody?
Hey, fam. We are back with another episode
of the Double Dose Podcast,
brought to you live from
the Revolt Podcast Network.
Chanel.
Shonda. Girl.
Listen,
well,
we got some
one set of twins.
Oh, forgot about the tagline. How did I forget about the tagline?
Okay.
We are one set of twins
with 2 different perspectives.
Right. People love that.
They do.
We can't forget to say that.
We can.
Because they really love like that. We're really different.
We are. We're one set of twins with 2 different perspectives.
Yeah. People who don't know us, they might assume like, oh, they're
alike.
So much alike.
Yeah. But I mean,
we are. And also,
yeah, we also sometimes have differing opinions.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
No, I love, talking to people who disagree with me.
Facts. What's one thing we disagree on?
There's a lot of things. We might today we're talking a lot of pop culture stuff, so we might disagree.
Do you like mushrooms?
Yeah.
Is there anything that Is there anything that I like that you don't like?
Wait, is that how you decipher if somebody? I thought she was gonna ask something like, "What's your views on politics or global warming?" Do you like mushrooms? I'm gonna need you to grow up a little. Yes, I like mushrooms.
Okay, I'm just trying to figure it out. Okay, whatever.
Do you like oysters?
I love oysters.
Okay, cool. All right, so I guess we don't disagree on anything.
I know. We're on one accord.
Right. Okay.
Well, make sure that if you are listening that you rate the pod.
Yes.
How can they do that, Shonda?
They can go into Apple, Spotify, Amazon Music, or wherever else you listen to the pod. And you guys can go in, leave a comment, and leave a 5-star review because the reviews are what helps us to stay visible.
Yes.
Y'all have been downloading, like y'all been loving that Africa episode. I was like, wait a minute. Is these our numbers?
It's like our numbers tripled literally overnight.
No.
Every time we refresh
that was more than a triple. That was more than a triple.
Every time we refresh it, it's like it jumps up more and more.
That was more than a triple.
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a mathematician, so I can't, calculate in my head. But I want to say that was a good, like, 300% type of.
Yeah, 100%. No. I'm saying I 100% agree with you. Okay.
All right, what else?
Yes, rate the pod. Y'all love the pod, so rate it. Don't be hating. Tell us what you've been up to, Shonda.
Yeah, so y'all are catching this, after Juneteenth. Happy Juneteenth.
Happy Juneteenth.
So on Juneteenth, I had the opportunity to speak for Elizabeth City University, which is also an HBCU. And so I facilitated a few workshops out there. It was dope.
Did you go on campus or virtually?
Nah, so it's in person. They're doing like an off-campus retreat.
Nice.
Yeah, so so they booked me a little first class flight or whatever.
Okay.
So I
to go to North Carolina, right?
So the school is in North Carolina. The conference they're having isn't like somewhere in Virginia.
Okay.
Like far away in Virginia. But yeah, it was lit. It was lit.
Blessed.
So what about you?
I mean, I've just been grinding on the podcast. My podcast, this and my podcast, the Success Playbook podcast, also available on the Revolt Podcast Network. I was actually invited to a big weekend for Juneteenth weekend.
Mm-hmm.
And you got mad at me because I had 4 VIP tickets to the Juneteenth honors, and I had to decline it because I had 2 podcast interviews that night.
Yeah, but I'm saying, I always tell you for stuff like that, Chanel, you want to keep your network open. Like you can,
No, I agree.
Talk to your guests, ask them, can they like reschedule, of course, with advance notice, but also like you in the city, you could have made connections with people and had them on the show as well.
Yeah, no, I agree. But shout out to those guys, the Juneteenth Foundation, Laquan and all them.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
You okay? Do you need water or?
Do you want to give me some?
Thanks, bro.
Thank you. You can get the rest.
But yeah, so just like, you want to always
cut this out, right?
You don't got to. I cut nothing out of my podcast.
Oh, right.
I could be choking.
Well, this is
I could
me
be
and my
hacking up-
authentic self.
I can be hacking up a lung and I will not edit it out. Simply because y'all need to take me as I am. Or
Mary
take
J.
nothing at
Blige
all.
said it best.
Period.
Honey.
But yeah, like you've literally been grinding on your podcast
I
because
have.
like y'all, she would come home from work, like
my
rush through
9
the
to
door,
5.
wash your face. I got a podcast episode. I got 3 guests. I'm like, can you eat something? Can you like?
I've literally been packing out my schedule because I'm trying to knock out all these interviews before football season because I know I won't have the flexibility.
Okay, that makes sense. That 12-week year, right, bro? That 12-week year. He's reading a book on the 12-week year. She's doing it. Maybe in about 4 weeks, you'll get everything done.
It's literally been a sprint. So I'm really excited about the guests I'm about to have on. I'll have Coach Jennifer King, who is the first Black woman to be a full-time NFL coach.
Awesome.
I'll have Sonia Richards-Ross. Richards-Ross. She's a current Real Housewife of Atlanta. She's also a 4-time Olympic gold medalist. Joy Taylor is coming up. She's a sport analyst. So I'm really excited.
Yeah, you guys know you have a dope lineup.
Thanks.
Yeah, you have a dope lineup.
Thank you.
So, yeah, so make sure y'all stay tuned. Make sure y'all subscribe to her podcast and make sure y'all rate it as well.
Please and thank you. All right, let's pivot into the double take.
All right. So the double take is basically our segment where we're talking pop culture, we're talking the news, and we're providing our double dose perspective on it. Church culture,
current events, etc.
Speaking of church culture,
what
have you seen that documentary, Mega Church Exposed?
Hillsong?
Yeah.
We started to watch it.
No, I finished it.
You finished it?
You started it?
No, we started it together.
When?
We were at the house.
I don't remember that, but I finished it. You got to finish it.
Is it like that scandalous?
I wouldn't say it's scandalous, but I don't know. It's just interesting to watch.
Okay.
But there were some things that happened in their church. The interesting that I'm hearing, though, a lot of people are like, well, this is why I don't go to the church now, blah, blah, blah.
Okay.
And I can understand why people might lose trust in like community organizations because of stuff like that. But we also have to remember, like, these are very much human people.
Because if something happens to you at work, you say, this is why I don't work now.
But I hate when people say that too, because
Why?
it also, it invalidates their lived experience. Like, I understand why someone would have that perspective. I get it.
Yeah, 100%. But is that really why you don't go to church now? Or do you just not go to church?
Okay, let me put it from that perspective. If I experience, some sort of hardship from a job that I'm working, I'm not going to say that's not why I'm going to work at all anymore, but that's probably why I'm not going to that job anymore. Like,
absolutely.
People have quit jobs for less.
That's fine.
And especially me.
Absolutely.
I will quit a job in a second.
What?
That's why I work for myself. I hate working for people.
You were a terrible employee.
But I'm a great boss.
As a child, I knew you were going to be a terrible employee. I did. Because like as kids, I woke up in the morning. My first job technically was like at Denny's, a restaurant, because I always wanted to have my own money to get my nails done. No, my first job was at Denny's on 13. I always wanted my own money to get my nails done. Mm-hmm. But you, on the other hand, during summers, you would sleep till like 3 p.m., 4 p.m.
Mom and Dad would hate that.
Our parents hated it. They thought you were like slacking and stuff. And meanwhile, I would be at Denny's serving pancakes and making tips so I can get my nails done and have my own money. So,
but my perspective was, look, we got the rest of our lives to work. I'm not pressed to get a job. Here, I'll put in an application just to get my parents, just to satisfy y'all. But I hope they don't call me back. I'm just doing this to appease y'all.
That's wild. And yeah, I did work at Red Robin. Yeah. That wasn't like one of my first jobs, but that was like a job that I did.
Did you get fired?
I got fired from Red Robin. Yeah.
What happened?
My cousin Barron got me that job. Shout out to Barron. He got me that job and I got fired.
How did you get fired?
Because I was working there during the summer. It was cool. Went back to school. I made an agreement to come back on, some weekends that I'm scheduled so I can continue to make money. Mm-hmm. That particular weekend, it was a Kappa, we'll say networking event in the Memorial Hall gym. It was a party, Kappa party. And but I'm safe now, so relax.
Wait, you
I wanted to go to a Kappa networking event at the Memorial Hall gym.
So you no-showed?
And yeah. I just didn't go to work. And the next weekend.
So you no-called and no-showed?
I did. And then the next weekend.
For the Kappas?
No, it was for the party, the networking event. And then that weekend, the following weekend, I called and was like, hey, this is Chanel. Y'all know I'm at school, but just get my schedule. And it was like, I don't see your name on here. Hold up. Just give me a second. The manager answers. Yeah, Chanel, we let you go. Call no-show. And I got fired. That was my story.
They didn't have the audacity to tell you?
They didn't tell me. I had to call them. Just like I didn't have the audacity to tell them I was going to a networking event.
Honestly, natural consequences, right? That's what I always teach the parents that I work with, natural consequences. But what else is on the docket?
I mean,
have I ever gotten fired from a job? I got not invited back from a contracted position.
What happened?
So I was working, it was like a summer job. We're home from school from Del State, and I was working at the Goodwill. The Goodwill, okay. Yeah. So in that was a time like you and I were like very much into vintage clothes and going thrifting, and it was a dope little job. So but I did not like it. It was dirty, it was grimy. I was in the back. It wasn't like I was a cashier or anything. Mm-hmm. I was in the back sorting through people's old clothes and hanging them on hangers. And sometimes they smell.
Yes.
Sometimes like it just be disgusting.
So you just smell it, just think about it.
I know. Everybody has like a large bin, and like a good worker, you would get through like you would stack up at least like 3 whole racks. There was somebody there who was like overachiever. Yeah, I did 12 racks today. I'm like, all right.
In a day?
Yeah.
That's a lot.
So, but like average person, you're going to do 3 or 4 racks. So you're going through the clothes, you're sorting them out, making sure they don't got no holes in them, hanging them up, put them on a rack.
Do you make sure that they're clean?
No. That's why you wash your clothes when you get home at the Goodwill.
What?
Yeah. And so you fill the rack up. And so I'm like, yeah, I just finished my rack. And the supervisor was like,
my rack. Hold on. Everybody else is doing racks, and you
3 to 12.
You said I just finished my rack.
They was like, "Where's the rest of it?" I was like, "This is it. This is it."
Why did it take you all day to do that?
Number 1, I have ADHD. Number 2, like I'm not about to sit here and go through smelly clothes and hang them up. Why do I need to do this for money?
You asked them for the job.
But listen, that was just like one of the things like that just probably they just didn't like about me, right? Michael Jackson died.
Yeah.
I was very emotional. I need to go home. Like, this is 2019. Michael Jackson died. And my friend passed away the same day. I need to go home.
Oh, yeah. That was a tough time for us.
I need to go home. This is emotional.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we hope you can come back tomorrow. I'll think about it. Like, it was just, and I was a teenager. I was texting a lot at work. I did not like that job. If I don't like something, I'm not invested in it. Therefore, I'm not going to do it.
Maybe you shouldn't have asked for it.
I didn't know it would be like that.
Okay.
I didn't know it would be like that. So the contract ended. They invite all the other contractees back. Like, yeah, we got this position.
Wait,
for you.
hold on.
We got that position
Hold on.
for you.
Goodwill has contractors?
Yeah. I think it was like through the state of Delaware or something.
Oh, yes. I remember that program. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And
But
they'll reach back out to y'all
back.
and be like, hey, we loved y'all. You racked it up.
Yeah. You racked it up.
Racked it up.
I didn't rack it up.
Racked it up. But when they got to you, they said, we'll pass.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't care.
How does that make you feel?
I don't like going through dirty clothes. I barely even wash my own clothes. I pay somebody. Like,
I can't believe that they just didn't care if they were washed or not.
Yeah. Chanel, do you think that when you go to thrift stores that all them clothes are washed?
No, I don't. But it's just like, wow, like y'all are conscious of that too, the Goodwill people? I thought they at least aimed to have like the cleanest of the clean clothes.
As long as it doesn't have any holes in it, as long as it's not like soiled or anything, it goes right on the rack and goes out there.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, that was one of the jobs I hated. The second job was J. Crew, but we'll talk about that later.
Because they were racist.
They were so racist, y'all. So racist.
That was a job where somebody said, oh, how'd you get good hair? Right?
Yeah, one of the white ladies said that.
One of the white managers.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I experienced so much racism, so much texturism from the employees, from the people who would come into the mall.
While you were at J. Crew, we were working in the mall at the same time. You were at J. Crew.
This is a whole nother episode.
I was at Nordstrom. All right, but Nordstrom has been woke. Nordstrom been woke. So I can't say I experienced that stuff.
But that's the energy that J. Crew gives. Like, it gives very much
elitist.
Yes, elitist, kind of like preppy, catering 100%. To white women. I was surprised when Solange was like the face of it for a minute. Not J. Crew, Maxwell, because Maxwell is like one of J. Crew's stores.
Okay,
I was surprised they had that, like, because she had natural hair. I'm like, wait, y'all got her on here with her natural hair, but it was a problem for me.
Yo, it was a problem when you had natural hair.
Like, it was
taking it all in. Double take. Again, it is a show, our segment that we talk about our two different perspectives on cultural moments. One is Suki Hana.
Yeah.
And what transpired with Suki Hana. First and foremost, shout out to Suki Hana. She's from Delaware.
Yeah, she's a Delaware native.
She's a Delaware native.
When I hear people talk about the situation, a lot of people are like, "Oh, we don't know who she is. We don't know who she is." Maybe I'm wondering if we know who she is because like we're from the same area.
No,
she was on Love and Hip Hop, right?
Yeah, she's known. Like people who are on Love and Hip Hop, that's how they catapult their careers. But even before that, like she was very big into her music and then content creation.
Okay,
so you can go ahead and list whatever you want to say.
Let me see. Because I can't do it off the dome. I got to see the list.
Okay.
All right. So in terms of Suki Hana, so basically she was violated by YK Osiris. Is that how you say his name, bro? Osiris. YK Osiris. I feel like I talked about him before on my pod. So violated by YK Osiris. And she was on the panel. And basically, like, when she was on the panel, he was trying to, like, kiss her in a very forceful way. She, like, blocked it, and he kept trying. And it was like dudes around. Nobody really stopped him, but which I thought was very weird. That was one situation. The other situation, do you remember what that was? With another podcast person, where they basically was kind of like talking to her in a very sexually inappropriate way, on the show. And so after these series of events, she had taken to Twitter and was basically saying like, she's, of course, like, in so many words, like feeling violated, feeling like, disrespected, and fearful to like speak up, and said she needed to take time to herself. Therefore, she like deactivated her accounts for a bit. I do feel as though when Black women experience things like this, it's not taken as seriously because Black women are often sexualized anyway. And believing that there's a large group of people like who are saying, if she presents herself a certain way, she's going to get certain attention, right? So it's no secret that she has, what's it called, OnlyFans account, and she does like, what some might deem as provocative on there, right? And because of that, some people are saying, well, this is the attention that she's receiving. This is the reason why, and kind of justifying it. And I think that is so egregious to justify that. That's very similar to saying like women get assaulted because of the way we dress, or women get assaulted because we give out the wrong attention or what have you. And so, I think that goes into that respectability politics realm of believing that when we show up a certain way, when we present a certain way, then we won't be targeted in this way. So that's just one of my thoughts. But
one of my thoughts is, for me, like when all this went down, because I saw the video, when all this went down, I was just disappointed that the other black men who were on the panel didn't hold that black man accountable, and let him know that like he was doing too much, right? Because we have, it's always those uncles or like those more dominant figures, those older figures in a circle that, sometimes will check, whoever it is that's in the wrong or whatever. They'll check them in the moment. So I was really disappointed that the others who were around didn't say like, yo, chill, like, yo, relax. Because I think that, at that moment, of course, Suki Hana was violated. Like, people don't want to say that, but ultimately she was violated. And it was nobody else around that kind of spoke up or like just advocated for her. Like that moment when she laughed awkwardly because, she was shy. She didn't know how to speak up for herself. Like, I think that so many women can relate to that. Like sometimes when you have that guy who's just like, maybe you all are out and you have that guy that just keeps trying to pursue. And it's just like, no, I'm good. I'm okay. Just trying to laugh it off with that uncomfortable laugh. And guys sometimes don't get the hint. So that was just so cringy to watch.
Yeah.
That was so cringy to watch.
Honestly, I don't care how much a woman, whether it's Suki Hana or somebody else, I don't care how much they talk about their body parts or talk about their sexuality. It does not leave an open door for somebody else to try them. Because if it's not consent, then it's assault.
Right.
If it's not consent, then it's assault. Right.
Exactly.
And so, I thought that was just really disgusting for that to happen. Even thinking of the responses, I think was even more disturbing because they're, again, like some people victim blaming, which I do not like. Right. Somebody on another podcast, somebody brought up the interesting perspective. Like if that had been like maybe somebody like Megan Good on that panel or somebody like, like a notable actor, let's say it was Nia Long, like, somebody trying them like that, would the world respond in this same way? Or are we responding in this way simply because she does she's in that line of work, like she has those rap lyrics that exemplify sexuality and things of that nature, which go again back into that respectability
and like, okay, when she is talking her talk or doing whatever acts it is, like that is her personality to get paid. Like
that's a job.
I can guarantee she is not like that when she is walking around at the park. Right. So just because that's like her stage persona does not mean that you can willingly violate her.
And that's the thing. And even when like after the violation, you got people tweeting, I think it was Meek who tweeted, basically kind of like justifying it essentially. Yeah. I forgot what exactly he said. Do you remember?
No, he said something along the lines of like, just don't crucify YK Osiris.
Yeah. So he was turning it into something like, this is something like just to put black men against black women or black women against black men, just to kind of like further divide us.
And this wasn't the time or place for that.
Right. Because while I do believe and I do understand and I do wholeheartedly agree that as a result of white supremacy, that has impacted the relationship between the black man and the black woman.
And I will also say that, never mind, I'm not even gonna say that.
What?
I'll say a former content creator also took a toll on the relationships between black women and black men who's no longer with us.
Yeah.
But that content that was created about a year or two ago, that created a big divide between the two of us.
Yeah, for sure.
So not just white supremacy, but what we've been doing to ourselves on social media.
It's definitely both. It's definitely both.
Agreed.
But I think that like this divide does happen, and there are tactics and strategies and plans to further divide us. But this is not one of those situations. Right. Assault is assault. I don't care if you're black, white, Jew, Gentile. Assault is assault. And so I think it's whack to kind of like just make up excuses for stuff like that.
Exactly. With her post though, she actually responded and said that, hey, like I'm a proud Black woman, and I don't support tearing down Black men. So I choose to forgive YK Osiris and
YK.
YK Osiris. So I'm hoping to move on from this, and which I appreciate that, but there needs to be a level of accountability for him.
Yeah, and they said he apologized, but it didn't sound genuine.
It sounded like somebody drafted that. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, and even thinking about Suki Hana and her response in that moment, because a lot of people are kind of justifying it by saying, well, she was laughing or whatever. Here's my thing. I don't know how true this is, but I do believe there was somebody who alluded to like her being sexually assaulted in the past, like or molested in the past or what have you, whether it was in childhood or whatever. A lot of times when people experience sexual assault or trauma in those ways, it does reinforce belief systems that they don't have body autonomy, that they don't have the power, they don't have the authority to be able to set boundaries if somebody is trying them in a sexual way.
Right.
So of course, in that moment, her response might be from a psychological perspective, fight, flight, or freeze, right? So I don't know what to do. I don't know how to protect myself. I don't know how to set this boundary. Therefore, I'm going to laugh it off.
Right.
That is a trauma response.
Absolutely. And I'll say that's not only a trauma response for, molestation or even assault, just in general, like sometimes with some of us who are faced maybe with racism or microaggressions at work, or sometimes we don't know what to say. So sometimes we'll shrink or like laugh it off, right? Like I had somebody in the past like say, I'm not even gonna say that. Okay, I'll pick a more safe and friendly one. Oh, your hair is so fun. That's a microaggression.
Yeah.
But, I just no, thank you. It's always easier to advocate for other people, but in instances, even with Suki Hana, and I can relate to this, it is hard to advocate for yourself, especially in the moment.
And that's why having people who are around who do ride for you,
bystanders.
like, I think that's why it's important too. I was wondering, where was her team when this was happening?
Right.
Like, where was her manager, security, somebody? Like, she's at that place now in her career where she needs security.
Right.
So I'm wondering, like, where was that person?
Okay, let's say the team was backstage somewhere. I'm still stuck on the other panelist. Like, I cannot imagine, like, just me being on a panel and I have guys just around me and they would just let it slide.
Yeah.
Like, even just we here with our bro. If I'm somewhere with one of my frat brothers and they see me getting violated, that man is going, like, he about to have some problems. They gonna go ape stuff on him.
No, seriously. Like, I've never experienced anything to that degree where somebody didn't intervene.
Right. Exactly.
Like,
even with like just me working in like large settings, whether it be in an arena with 20,000 people, a stadium with 50,000 people, like, you are going to encounter people who may be attracted to you.
Yeah.
They might try to like grab your wrist or whatever. But I love having, like you said, bystanders or whatever. Like, just walking alongside me and just like, hey, how you doing? Like, just, intervening, like, and just taking up for me. So I always thought that was dope.
That also goes along with like that respectability piece too, because it's like, it makes me wonder, did they not intervene because of who she is and the stuff that she raps about? Because like, I can be in a Wawa, not know anybody in there,
right?
And somebody would probably intervene,
right?
Because of like, I might seem respectable to them, right? I might be palatable to them, right? But because she is who she is, and she, she does have this type of content, she have these types of lyrics, people was just kind of like letting it slide. And I think, that respectability stuff is trash. Like, it really is trash. Because,
like, at the end of the day, she's, number one, human. Number two, she's a mother. Like, she's not Suki Hana 24/7.
Right.
Right? So she, at the bare minimum, she deserves respect.
Yeah.
So, and to not be grabbed.
Exactly.
And kissed on.
Exactly. But definitely praying for her.
Yes.
Because something like that can be traumatic.
Exactly.
For people.
Exactly. And she was traumatized. She said it. She said she's been in tears all day.
Yeah. Re-traumatization. Yeah. That's insane.
So it's definitely something probably deeper there.
Yeah.
But let's pivot to our next conversation piece, DC Young Fly.
Okay.
So we all are aware that DC Young Fly, unfortunately, lost his partner, the mother of his 3 children. And she recently had a funeral. It is so sad. It is so unfortunate. It really took over the internet. But Azalea Banks, Azalea Banks took it upon herself to say that she felt vindicated for the unfortunate and untimely death of DC Young Fly's partner. Her name is
Jackie O.
Jackie O. So let's talk about Azalea Banks. What are your thoughts?
I mean, I didn't think it was possible for somebody to be that trash of a person, but that's trashy behavior.
But we knew that Azalea Banks was crazy. But this...
You're not supposed to say crazy.
Why?
It's culturally insensitive and stigmatizes mental health in the Black community, or any community for
culturally
that
insensitive to who?
People who might have mental health diagnoses. So let's say she's, what's another word?
Gutter?
Yeah, let's say she's gutter.
All right. So we all knew that Azalea Banks was gutter and low down and not the best human being on this planet. But this is an all-time low.
What I find interesting is that when did that episode of Wildin' Out air?
Like years ago. Let's talk about that. This all stemmed from because she was a guest on Wildin' Out.
Yeah.
And in that back and forth, she had a back and forth exchange with DC Young Fly. And he said, like, his tagline is, like, ugly girl or something like that. Right.
But he calls his daughter an ugly girl.
Right. Right. That's just his tagline.
Yeah.
He wasn't calling you ugly, sis. But she internalized that, I feel like.
Yeah, of course. And the fact that she, it's been so many years and she feels vindicated at this point, that's a clear indication, sis, that you had some unforgiveness going on. And not just some...
It's been on her mind for years.
And it's not even just like, not forgiving somebody, but like the spirit of unforgiveness has taken root into her heart to the point where she was carrying this thing around for years.
For years,
Chanel.
And all he did was talk about her braces, which we all had those questions. Like, why did they take the wire out and leave the little brackets on her teeth?
No, it looked very interesting. Look, I'm not knocking her dentist. Shout out to Dr. Honig because, my orthodontist had me lit.
Thanks.
But I don't understand why the braces was, like, they weren't together. They weren't connected. Questions. But anyway, I think this is just an example of what unforgiveness can do to a person. It really can turn you into a nasty individual.
Ruin her soul.
Nasty.
She needs therapy.
Yeah, for sure.
She needs a lot of it.
For sure. We also wanted to kind of like stay on the topic of DC Young Fly.
Yes. Definitely want to extend our condolences to him and his family.
Yeah.
And we definitely want to just shout out the fact that, like, we all know that he was a man of faith.
For sure.
He stays prayed up.
Yep.
And he has not allowed this situation to change him. So let's talk about that.
Yeah, he hasn't allowed the situation to change him. I think a lot of people were just kind of like waiting and wondering like what he was going to post.
Right.
Whether he was okay. And so like when we heard what he spoke about during the funeral, that really helped us to kind of put into... To help us understand like where his mind was and where he was. Like people just wanted to know he was okay, and I think that was the moment that we needed to make sure he was good.
Yep.
But it wasn't just that; it was actually like the context of like what he was saying. Do you want to share what he said?
Yeah, is that somewhere on here? I don't think so. But I'll just jump into it while you find it. So basically, what he said is like, "Hey, this is not going to be easy, but I have God. My family stays prayed up." He called out his daughters and he said, "Baby girl, don't you know that God is real and we stay prayed up?" And she said, "Yeah." So that gave us assurance that his daughters, of course, are sad, but they know they're going to be okay. And overall, the speech was just a sentiment of like, yes, this is a horrible thing to go through, but I have God and I know that God has me. So
yeah, I don't see the notes in here. My bad, but you summed it up.
Yeah.
Good. But he basically was saying, in addition to that, like, this is something tragic that I've experienced. And also, y'all know me. Y'all know that I keep my faith at the forefront.
Right.
And not only did he say that, but he said, like, I'm not going to complain and I'm not going to question God.
And he said, y'all shouldn't complain and y'all shouldn't question what we're going through.
Yeah. He said, like, I have a reason to lose my mind right now, but I'm not going to
lose my mind. Yeah.
Did that remind you of like any Bible character?
Job?
Yes, he like it was given Job experience.
It was given Job.
Definitely given Job experience. Where Job felt like he was losing it all, but also was like, I'm not going to charge God for all the things that I'm experiencing right now.
Naked, what did he say? Naked did I come into this earth, naked shall I return.
Yet though he slay me, yet will I trust him. And I think we was seeing a living testament of that.
Yes. And like this situation is horrible, it's tragic. And it brought so much glory to God because with that, the world was watching DC Young Fly, and DC Young Fly said, okay, while y'all watch me get on my knees and pray. Yeah. While y'all watch me go through this with grace. While y'all watch me run to God in spite of my circumstances.
Yeah. Watch me go through this in faith.
Yeah.
Like still believe in God, still having unwavering faith. And Chanel, that kind of like brought up the scripture, John 12, verse 32. If I be lifted up, I'll draw men to me. So that is a quote from John. So Jesus is speaking here during his ministry. He's saying, if I be lifted up, I will draw all men to me. So how do you kind of, relate it. How do you relate that to DC?
Yeah, so I mean, just like I said, this situation, all eyes was on DC Young Fly, right? And this situation, again, because eyes were on him, it drew people, I want to say, to inquire on, okay, so what is this that DC Young Fly has, right? What is this peace? What is this comfort that we're seeing? What is this relationship with God? What makes it so special? So I do believe that God was lifted up in this situation.
Yeah.
He got the glory out of it.
Exactly. That's the thing. Can God get the glory out of your tragedy?
Exactly.
Can God get the glory out of your trauma and horrible experiences in life? Because everybody doesn't have that testimony.
Yeah, a lot of people charge God.
Yeah. Because Chanel, like when you have a relationship with God that's conditional, like it's easy to just, blame him, to walk away from him. But when it's unconditional, like I have an unwavering faith in God, that means that anything in life can happen.
Yes. And I'll never speak bad about God.
Right.
And I know he has me through
Exactly. And I know we said he reminds us of like Job in that moment, but, even kind of bringing back John 12:32, right? So this scripture came to me when I was kind of like, when we were like talking about the situation, because I feel like it's commonly quoted, right? If I draw all men to me, I will, or if I be lifted up, I will draw all men to me.
Yeah.
We so many times we quote that in our community, right? And so a lot of people interpret it as like, if I be lifted up, God, if you elevate me,
you listen,
God, if you
give
me
me this promotion,
if you get me this promotion,
if you make me popping on TikTok,
if you make my influence wide, I'll draw all men to you. I'll draw all men. But that's literally like we misinterpret that scripture,
right? So
what Jesus was talking about is, if I be lifted up on the cross.
Exactly.
Then I will draw all men to me.
And what is the cross a representation
Crucifixion.
of? Crucifixion, trials.
Yes, right. So if I'm lifted up, so meaning the whole world, if I'm lifted up, the whole world is watching me in my tragedy.
In pain.
In my tragedy.
In my embarrassment.
In my pain, in my, trials, in my turmoil.
In my trauma.
I will draw all men to me.
Listen, that is the greatest display, right? You are literally elevated as Jesus was. You're elevated on a cross. If I be lifted up on this cross, naked, bare, embarrassed, everybody looking at me, looking at my flaws, everything, I will draw all men. Not if I get popping on TikTok. Not if I get a popping YouTube channel. If I be lifted up in these trials and tribulations, I will draw all men.
And that's a legitimate question to like ask ourselves. Like in our own self-reflection, am I the best representation of a disciple of Christ, even in my tragedy?
Yeah.
Not saying that we won't go through things, not saying you won't have emotions as we go through things.
But how will you go through?
Right. Are you being an example to other people in terms of like how to go through?
Exactly. Is your situation drawing others to Christ?
Or is your situation becoming your God?
Right. Is it becoming about you?
Right.
Are you a victim?
And one thing, I was talking to Uncle Howard over the phone, and he was just talking about the concept of like, you can't park at grief. You can't park there. Like, yes, you gotta hurt, you gotta feel it, but you can't park at grief. Because I was thinking about that, like if we park at grief, then people, and we stay stuck there, people are going to see that. People are going to see us stuck in that trial. And then we're glorifying the grief.
Yeah.
We're glorifying the circumstance.
Grief becomes your guide.
Grief becomes your guide.
And your priority. Yeah.
But if we allow ourselves to feel, we allow ourselves to experience it, and we continue to trust in God, then we are drawing people to him.
Yes.
That's a different type of faith.
Absolutely.
Different type of faith.
That takes a different type of relationship with God.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So that's our word for y'all today.
Yes.
We hope that this brought about some level of reflection, right? How are you going through?
Yes.
Yeah. You got anything else?
No, I think we covered it all. Let me check.
Yeah. So make sure you guys are rating and subscribing to the pod exclusively on the Revolt Podcast Network. I want y'all to definitely leave us some comments. Let us know what y'all think.
And if you have any double take topics that you want us to cover, please send us a message. We would love to address it. Also, if you have any questions for us that you'd love for us to answer on the podcast, again, we would love to answer it. So just shoot us a DM at Double Dose Pod on Instagram, and we'll take it from there. Yep. All right, see y'all. Bye, love y'all.
The Enhanced American Express Business Gold Card is designed to take your business further. It's packed with features and benefits like flexible spending capacity that adapts to your business, 24/7 support from a business card specialist trained to help with your business needs, and so much more. The Amex Business Gold Card, now smarter and more flexible. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/businessgoldcard.